probably knock someone out for these books. Not really, but in my head I would. I would make up the scenario in my head, and I would. So yeah. Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video of me talking about books. Thank you all for being here today. I appreciate you all so much. Today's video I am going to be going over my top 24 books of 2024. Now, I only read 45 books in 2024, so not a wide variety to choose from like other people, but that does not mean it was not hard to make decisions, okay? My number one, if you've been around, you probably already know what my number one is. But we're still gonna talk about it anyways because it gives me another reason to talk about my favorite book. So anyways, we're gonna start from 24 all the way to number one. So that way we can just go ahead and it's not, okay, let me make this clear. Just because they are 24 does not mean I did not enjoy them. They just were not number one. I enjoyed all of these books. I love them all. That's why they are on my top 24. So no hate, it's just, you know, someone had to be 24 and someone had to be one, you know? So it has to be someone. So yeah. That's how it goes. Okay, anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so number 24 and 23 were both rereads for this year, so still some of the best books that I have ever read. That's why we reread them. But that's why they are 24 and 23, because they are rereads. They're not something new or fresh, and I just felt like it wasn't fair to the other books. So yeah. Number 24, we have The Hunger Games. I love The Hunger Games. I read this in high school, so this was a reread for me leading up to The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, which I did read in December. I did finish that. So now I am patiently waiting for Haymitch's story, which gets released this year. I cannot wait for that. But The Hunger Games is just a classic for me. It's something I can always go back to. It's one of my comfort reads. I really enjoyed the story as a whole. I enjoy, but this book particularly I just love. I don't know, I feel like we just get straight into the action, which is something I really like, and we pretty much the whole story is revolving around the arena, being in the arena, and that's what I like about The Hunger Games. I will say Catching Fire is my favorite movie out of the franchise, but this is my favorite book for sure. And the reread definitely confirmed that. Like, doing the reread definitely made me feel like, oh, The Hunger Games is a better movie, but Catching Fire is the better, or no, The Hunger Games is the better book, but Catching Fire is the better movie. But that's just my opinion. But yeah. At number 23, we have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I reread this. Again, this is another high school read for me. I've only read this one in the entire series, though. I did not continue the series in high school. I read it for a class assignment, made a scrapbook for my project, called it good. But I realized this year that I have not finished the movies either. I have not seen, I believe, the last 3 movies. I'm in denial. I get really attached to characters easily, and so I'm really attached to all these characters, and I know in the movies I'm about to lose a bunch of them, and my heart just can't handle that. So I was like, oh, I'll just I'll read the series is what I'll do, and I'll put off the movies even longer. So we are doing the series right now. We will be continuing it. We will be going to Chamber of Secrets. I am excited for that as well, but this is just a nice cozy just vibe. The found family in this is just absolutely amazing. Like, I just love it so much because these kids is what they start out to be, and they grow up throughout the entire series, just become their own family, and they trust in each other. And I love this so much. It's magic. It's a magical school. We have the found family, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite tropes, you know. So this is just, it has a piece of me, a piece of my heart. Now that we got the 2 rereads out of the way, let's get into some new books that we read in 2024. At number 22, we have Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. Now, I know this is like a hot take. You either love or you hate this book. I honestly really loved this. I liked it better than Hunting Adeline. Hunting Adeline's extremely dark, way more dark than this. This just seemed like a real good time, honestly, though. The second book is a lot more serious. Like I said, dark. Check your trigger warnings if you have not read these yet. This is kind of dark as well, but I felt like it was like mildly dark, you know? I don't know, compared to some other things that I have read or heard about, I feel like this is a mild take, which is weird because everyone's like, don't start this out as your dark romance journey, and this was my first dark romance book. So, I mean, I guess I did read the Twisted series, which some people think is dark romance, but that's mild. That is a dash, a sprinkle of maybe dark romance here and there in some of the books. But this definitely was a journey. I had a good time. I marked every single letter as well. I didn't know if there was a significance, but I definitely marked every single letter. And now Phantom comes out this year as well. I already have it pre-ordered, which is about our main character, our main female character's grandma, which is going to be different. She's H.G. Carlton has already said this is a 1920s, I think, kind of mafia romance, so it's not going to be like this at all. So it's going to be a different take, and I'm excited for that. But yeah, this was a good time. I understand the hype around Zaid. Have I read better book boyfriends? Yes. Now, as you can tell, since it's number 22. My friend Haley is obsessed with this book. She loves it. I love it, just not as much. Yeah. Number 21 on our list is Layla by Colleen Hoover. Now, I know Colleen Hoover's kind of a hot take as well. You either like her or you don't, pretty much. Now, what I will say is I have really been enjoying her, like, more suspense romance, thriller romance, I guess is what I should say. So this is one of them. Some people think this is a romance book, but it's not. I would say it's more of like a mystery romance, suspense romance, you know, something along those lines is what I'm looking for. So basically what happens here is Leeds, I had to remember the guy's name. Layla and Leeds are working pretty much on their relationship, and so what they do to kind of work it out is go back to the place that they met at to kind of re-bring this spark to themselves. And while they are there, some things happen that Leeds notices, and it gets a little weird from there. And I'm going to leave it at that, but definitely the plot twist in this I did not see coming at all. It threw me for a loop. I honestly, I've never read a romance book from Colleen Hoover, but her like suspense, like mystery thriller books, I would read all day, every day. I mean, they're so good. She should drop romance and just make these kind of books, in my opinion. But yes, I did love this so much. I remember hating this book at the beginning. It's like, okay, I understand, and then the middle you're like, I cannot stand this MMC, and then at the end you're like, whoa, I understand it now. And I love when a book does that, make me go, whoa. I don't know, I really love this. I gave it, I think, 5 stars, honestly, is what I gave it. It's one of her best books. Coming in at number 20 is Flawless by Elsie Silver. This was a good time, honestly. I just remember when I picked this up, for some reason, I have never read a cowboy romance before, but I was craving a cowboy romance. I don't know what was in me, but I was like, I want to read a cowboy romance. And I'd done and dusted and Flawless, and I was like, well, everyone talks about, you know, Elsie Silver and the Chestnut Springs series, and it is a completed series as well. So I'm gonna dabble in that because the second book is Heartless, and I've heard that's even better than this first book. So, but basically this is Rhett. Yeah, Rhett and Summer. I'm really bad about names. You know, when you read so many names, it's hard. Rhett and Summer. So pretty much Summer is her, okay, this is about Rhett and Summer. Summer is his agent's daughter, and pretty much she is having to watch him because he has to be careful of his image. Of course, he did something naughty and it's just not looking good for him. So she has been assigned for the summer to watch him pretty much and make sure he stays out of trouble and he looks good for his like brand deals. Yeah, that's what it's called. So this, a lot of people say this is enemies to lovers. I do not think so. It's not, they don't hate each other. They're not enemies or anything like that. I think they get off on the wrong foot. I think it's more of like a dislike to Lovers, Forced Proximity, Agent's Daughter, you know, so it was a good time. I liked it. I learned what the cowboy hat rule was, which was something I was curious about if I was going to get it from this book or not. So that was fun as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all I got for it. At number 19, we have The Teacher by Frida McFadden. I know this was a extreme hot take on TikTok when this got dropped because it made a lot of people uncomfortable. But I'm able to separate that and put my mindset in, this is just a book, I'm fine. So IRL, this shit would not fly. In a book, it could fly. Okay, so anyways, we have Addie, who's a student. Basically, the previous year something happened that was not good, so she's kind of on like the radar right now for a lot of teachers. We have Eve, who is a teacher, and then her husband, who I can't remember the name off at the top of my head, is also a teacher at this school. And yeah, I'm pretty much gonna leave it at that. It's messed up. This is messed up. And then the ending just had my mind blown, is pretty much what I'm gonna say. That's the thing about Frida McFadden. I think I have about like 2 Frida McFadden books on my top 24 because her plot twists are so good. And I keep going back and forth between this and Never Lie and The Housemaid on which one is my favorite by her. And I keep coming back to The Housemaid and The Teacher because those 2 plot twists were probably like the biggest twisty turny for me. Like my brain wasn't processing, like I was like, wait a second, let me go back and make sure I read what I read, you know. And that's what I love about Frida McFadden, and she was my most read author in 2024 as well. So thank you for giving me the love of mystery thriller again. Number 18 is The Beast by Katee Robert. Oh my gosh. Okay, the Wicked Villain series, I am about 4 out of 6 books deep into it. This is the 4th book in it. I did not tab it a lot, but that's because the smut in this is absolutely insane. Insane. Okay, now we have, obviously, these are all kind of retellings in a dark, smutty way in their own world as well. And so each book is based on a different Disney movie, and the villain gets the girl usually in it. So the first book is Jafar and Jasmine. The second book is Hercules, Meg, and Hades. The third is Tink and Hook. And then this one is the Beast, Belle, and in here he's called Gaten, but Gaston, you know. Take what you will from this. But yes, the spice in this was insane. I remember just staying in bed binging this because I was so addicted to it. Not a whole lot of plot, but the spice made up for that for me. This was just a guilty pleasure, just honestly enjoy read for me, which does happen quite a bit. It's a nice palate cleanser in between like the darker stuff and everything. But yeah, this was just a good time, and I love Katee Robert so much for this. And I got to meet her, by the way, for a book signing in 2024. Sweet, sweet, sweet human. Love her. Number 17, we have Five Survive by Holly Jackson. And shout out, honestly, for Holly Jackson for writing my most hated character of 2024. So basically, this is about 6 friends who are going to go to the beach for spring break. They're traveling in an RV together, and on their way there, basically something happens. The RV breaks down, they get a flat, I believe, and they fix it, and then when they go to leave again, something else happens to the vehicle. So they're like, what is going on? And basically someone's behind it, and they got to figure out who, and they believe it's someone in the van, but they're not sure. So it gets pretty crazy. True colors come out. People are ruthless in this, and I just remember binging this. I buddy read this with Haley, and we just could not get enough of it. It was so good. Number 16 is The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I picked this up actually a couple months ago, and I don't know why I put it off for so long. When people say this is YA Criminal Minds, they were not playing. Like, this is exactly the vibe I get when I'm watching Criminal Minds, and to get it in a book was just everything. I don't know. Jennifer Lynn Barnes, definitely her writing was great, basically is how I should put it. I was addicted to this. I remember reading it in just a couple of days and I just couldn't get enough. I was staying up super late trying to finish this, and my brain does not process after like 10 o'clock at night. Like if I go to read, I'm falling asleep usually. But I was up, I mean, binging this. I even made a gas station trip so that way I could go grab a drink and like refresh and wake up. So basically this revolves around Cassie, who is kind of lost right now, and at the beginning of the book we kind of noticed that, but she's very observant. She's basically like a natural profiler. So basically the FBI reaches out to her and they're like, hey, we have this program of other naturals just like yourself who have these natural abilities that are assisting us with code cases. And she decides to go and meet all these other gifted kids as well. And things start picking up pretty fast. You jump into the action right away. The plot twist in this too, I was heartbroken. I was like, there ain't no way. There ain't no way. And there is a love triangle in this as well. And lately, I don't know what it is about love triangles. It's Lightlark. Lightlark did this to me. It's between Hunger Games and Lightlark. The love triangles that have made me addicted to love triangles. But I'm addicted to love triangles now. So there is a love triangle in this as well. And it's just... So yeah, it's my dream book pretty much. Sorry you're not number one though. But it was a great time. I loved it. Highly recommend it. I already have the second book. I plan on continuing this series, and I just know it's going to be a good time. I want her to pick a certain guy, but I don't know. I've seen a couple of like quotes from the second book, and she may pick the guy that I am not rooting for, but who knows? Book 2 may change my mind about him. You never know with books. Number 15 is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I know we've been doing a lot of back-to-back mystery thrillers, but they're kind of just right in the middle for me. So, but yes, we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This was a... How do I explain this? This was like solving a case within a book. That's pretty much, yeah. That sounded so dumb. Oh my gosh. Anyways, okay, so basically this was just fun. I like the way this is formatted. Holly Jackson definitely did this justice, because you basically get to go on this investigation with Pip. Pip is on her senior high school project, and she decided to do this case that involved a disappearance of a girl from her high school, and the boyfriend was blamed for it pretty much, and then he committed suicide, and no one really knows the full story. So Pip decides, I'm gonna look into this because something just doesn't sit right with me. And throughout this entire investigation, you're getting the interviews like in here and everything. You're getting the transcripts, you're getting the maps that she's making. It's crazy all the details you get into this. And my only regret is that I spaced this reading out because it was during a super busy time for me, and I wish I would have binged it in just a couple of days, because I really feel like that would have made this book so much more for me. But this is so good. I'm a criminal justice major, so having a book like this is just so interesting and fascinating to me, to sit here and be like, wow, this is what it's like. Okay, number 14 is The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Like I said, Freida McFadden was my most read author this year, so of course 2 books were probably gonna be on my top 24 by her. But like I said, I was going through The Teacher and The Housemaid a lot, back and forth on which one was higher. But ultimately, this was my first Freida McFadden book, so I just feel like this one just holds a special place in my heart. And this is what got me started and addicted to Freida. So, you know, I have read the entire Housemaid series. I have the novella that she recently dropped on my bookshelf. I cannot wait to read that. But it was definitely a journey with Millie. So this is about Millie, who is hired on as a housemaid for this couple pretty much, and their daughter. And basically, things are not as it seems pretty much. The wife acts one way and then she acts a completely different way when her husband is around. And you're like, what the fuck is going on, pretty much is what you're like. And so I just remember the plot twist happened and I was like, no way. I truly was thrown for a loop. I don't even know how to describe it as. It just threw me off completely. And after that, I've been addicted to Frida. I've been addicted. Her plot twists just usually always get me. Have there been some disappointments? Yes. There's been the 3-star reads and everything. But most of her stuff is so good, so fast-paced, so addicting. I already have The Crash pre-ordered. I plan on getting that. I cannot wait to read The Boyfriend as well. Like, she just, so many books in so little time, and I love her. I want to read all of her work. Number 13, and I looked at this and I got so giddy and I was like, man, maybe I should have put it higher up, but it is what it is. So we have things already set, but that is Light Lark by Alex Astor. Oh my gosh, I don't know what it was about this book, but I was just addicted. I was addicted to this book. I was up until like 4 in the morning reading this. I almost read it in one sitting. I remember looking at the clock and being like, oh my gosh, I have read all day today until 4 in the morning, and I think I had like 60 pages left, and I finished it the very next day. This was a 3 or 2 day read for me, and that's rare for me. That is very, very rare, and I love this. So basically this is Light Lark, an island that appears only every 100 years, where the rulers, I think it's 6. How many rulers is there? Oh my god, hang on. 6. There are 6. Oh my gosh. 6 rulers come together and they have to try to break the curse pretty much in each of their different islands, I guess I'll say, because I don't think that's the right word because they're not really islands, but each of their worlds, I'll say like that, each have a different curse because they each have their own special abilities. So basically all of them have to suffer in some different way, so they need to break it, and there is a love triangle in this, like I said earlier, and there's one clear winner in this, and nothing's changing my mind about that. Nothing. And number 12, we have Verity by Colleen Hoover. I already told y'all her mystery thriller romances are just so good. And Verity was my first read by her, therefore it is above Layla. Okay, now here's the thing. Verity was twisted, it's dark, it's messed up. Check your trigger warnings. I recommended this to a friend. They got to a certain part and they were like, I can't do it anymore. Can you just tell me about the book? And I was like, yeah, understandable. So definitely check your trigger warnings. But basically, this is about how do I put this? 2 authors pretty much, and one is in like a coma right now. She was in an accident and she is unable to finish writing her story, so they sign another author on to finish her story. So basically this author, to get inspiration, is reading like her writing, her manuscripts, all that, and she discovers some pretty dark, messed up stuff. Okay, and then some creepy shit starts happening in the house as well, and I just remember staying up so late to finish this because I was like, I have to know the ending. And let me tell you, the ending will make you even more confused. You will be left with questioning what you read and what is real and what's not real, pretty much. And that is what I loved about this, and I still think about it. That's one reason why I still think about it to this day, is because I'm still like, what the fuck? What? So I don't know, I love this. I know it's a hot take, some people either loved or hate it, but I had a good time with this. I remember reading it and my mouth literally just being like the entire time, like I was just so shocked. Number 11, I have Wretched by Emily McIntyre. I did not expect to enjoy this book as much as I did. This is like a mafia romance, good boy, bad girl, pretty much. Badass FMC, let me tell you. Evelina in this is everything I wish I was. She's confident, she's sassy, she does not give a fuck, and she is just everything. So in this, hang on, we have Evelina and then Nicholas is his name. Okay, so Nicholas is basically, he's an undercover cop pretty much, and he's gonna go in and pretty much try to figure out this operation that's going on, this like drug operation and everything, and Evelina is in the family that is handling this, and so he's trying to separate feelings from work and everything, and things get so heated. This is pretty messed up. There was some gory parts in here where when I was reading it, I was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm a person that visualizes while I'm reading as well. So my pictures I was getting in my head was not nice. But I loved this. It was so addicting, and it definitely was one of those things where I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. I liked it more than I liked Hooked, if that says anything. So, I don't know, and the little Easter eggs you get in here from Emily McIntyre, because they're all fractured retellings. She doesn't like saying that they're retellings, because they're not. But they take these Easter eggs from all these Disney movies and stuff and put them in here. So it's like you have the flying monkey as something. In Hooked you have pixie dust, so there's just all these unique things that I like about this. And so Wizard of Oz is definitely a classic for me that I love, and so this was just a nice refreshing take on it. It was nice for me. Okay, it was nice for me. At number 10, and y'all can hate on this book all you want, but that is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I loved this book. I don't know why it gets so much hate. It was just a nice, good time. And that's kind of what it is in college. It's just like a nice, good time. And that's pretty much what we experience. So we have Anastasia and Nate pretty much. And Nate is a hockey player while Anastasia is a figure skater. She's going for the Olympics and everything. Clearly he wants to win his cup, obviously. But basically something happens to the other rink, and they now have to share a rink together. So yeah. So a lot of people say this is enemies to lovers. It's not. It's more of a hate to love, because she is pissed off and does not like him at first. So I would say it's a hate to love, not an enemies to lovers. But you definitely have like the forced proximity, the found family in here as well. This is just a good time. It is spicy as well. This is probably Hannah Grace's spiciest book out of the entire series. I would say you get less spice as you go with the series. But I still think the plot was still good in this as well. A lot of people don't like this, but I had a good time. I loved it. I have 3 editions of this book, and I don't care. Number 9, and this is a series I cannot wait to continue. Haley has been reading it nonstop right now. She has made her way through like 3 of the books in this series, so she's like on like the second to last book. God of Malice by Rena Kent. Rena Kent, with this book alone, has quickly become one of my most bought authors. I have the entire Legacy of God series in hardback, by the way. It was going out of print in this cover, and I already had this cover, so we had a problem, okay? So I have this entire series, and I need to get to it, but this is just a dark romance lover like dream. This was so good. It was so addicting. We have Killian and we have Gwendolyn. Glendon. Oh my gosh. We're gonna call her Glenn. So she's an art student. He is a medical student, and he is a psychopath. True and true. I mean, this guy is messed up. He stalks her. The beginning of the book is messed up. The very first chapter you get into this, you're like, what? So, I mean, if you don't vibe with the first 2 chapters, you're probably not going to vibe with the rest of this book. But it was everything I needed in a dark romance book. And it kind of spoiled me, too. I remember right after this, I jumped into Where's Molly? And I actually only rated Where's Molly 3 stars, because I was like, I should have went into another dark romance book after finishing such a phenomenal dark romance book. This was 4.75 stars. There was something missing for me to give it 5 stars, but it was still so good. So good. And I had such a good time. The scenes in here were crazy. She is a badass as well. She does some stuff in here that I would probably never think about doing. But the spice on this too was, it was hot. It was hot. Number 8 is Archer's Voice. Oh my gosh, this was, I think this was the first book I read in 2024, and it sat with me for this long. It made it into the top 10. This is just this is the book when I think about true love. This is what I tell people about. Like, this is the book that gives me hope and true love. We have Archer and Bree in this, and Archer cannot speak, and Bree is running away from her past and ends up in his small town. Now, Archer has some problems in the past himself, and this is basically both of them working through it and finding themselves while also opening up and finally letting someone in. And this is just beautiful. It is so emotional. I didn't cry, but I know lots of other people did cry in this, but this is just definitely a truly beautiful, just emotional love story, and I just connected with it on such a deep level. Bree just meant so much to me. The little tokens that they did for each other, just, it made my heart grow like 3 sizes. I kid you not. This is just so beautiful. It's just the simple way to put it. 5 stars. Number 7 is Priest by Sierra Simone. This was a guilty pleasure read, and it was such a fun time that I still think about these characters to this day. Tyler Bell, you are a man that I am looking for. Oh my gosh. So basically we have Poppy and Tyler is a priest, and Poppy comes to the confession to speak with him, and from the moment she speaks, he's like, whoa, wait a second. And so it's just a good time. There are things that definitely happen in a church that should not happen in a church, but in a book it's okay, because it's in a book, guys. It's in the book, okay? Don't judge me because I like this, okay? Anyways, the piano scene is what I'm gonna say pretty much, and leave it at that. Was my favorite. I know a lot of people like the oil scene, but yeah, definitely just smutty fun. I had a good time and I don't regret it at all. This is definitely in my top 10, obviously, and it will probably stay there for a long time because I'm obsessed, and the second book just didn't do it for me in this series. This one's still my number 1. We'll see what the third is like, but I'm not ready to say goodbye to this world yet, so I just been putting off the third book because it's also the last book and it makes me sad. Number 6, we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood has become one of my favorite authors of 2024, and she has become a auto-buy author now because I've read 3 of her books and they all were above a 4-star for me. So with that, auto-buy author. Now, The Love Hypothesis is one of my favorites by her. It's not my favorite by her, but it is one of my favorites. I mean, look at all the tabs. I mean, I tabbed this up for sure. It was addicting. The fake dating in this was great. Grumpy Sunshine as well. This is actually what made me realize, oh hey, I kind of like fake dating. But you have Olive and you have, what's his name? Adam. Okay, so you have Olive and you have Adam in this, and as you can tell, I like Olive more than Adam. But basically, Olive is having to fake date him to help her best friend, to like convince her best friend, like, oh, it's okay that you date my ex, I'm over him, pretty much. But Olive never really liked her ex anyways. She kind of just went out with him because everyone was like, you know, like, y'all would be cute, you know, and she kind of felt like she was needed to in a way, and it just wasn't her vibe. And so she's trying to give that vibe to her best friend to be like, go for it, y'all clearly like each other, and the best friend's just not having it. So she's like, yo, I'm dating someone. And he is also agreeing to fake date Olive because his funds for his project got like locked, and he needs like the campus to believe like he's staying, and so that's like the girlfriend thing will like make them think that. So they're both in it for something, they both need something, and this is basically like their story going through it all and having to fake it to everyone, and it's so good, it's so much fun, and I just had a good time. And honestly, this does not have much spice at all. I would say the spice in this is like a 0.5 chili pepper. Like, there's like one scene and you really don't get much in it. It's like leading up to it, which is rare for me because I usually like spice. So, but this was still such a fun, good time. Like, guys, we are getting into my top 5. This is these are my babies. Like, if anyone ever talked bad about any of these 5 books, I would stand up for these books and fight for them and say, yo, you're wrong, okay? You're wrong. You're just wrong, okay? Number 5, we have Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. What did I say? What did I say? This is my favorite book by Ali Hazelwood so far. This is a chess romance. I know nothing about chess, but I loved this. This was great. I felt like I learned about some chess. I learned about some other things as well. So we have Mallory and Nolan, and Mallory basically has given up chess after things happened with her father and everything, and so she's just done. She helps take care of her family now, and she has put chess in the past. Nolan is the best chess player in the world right now. He's a GM, all that, grandmaster. And basically Allah's friend is like, hey, I have a charity tournament, please play in it. Like, the person I needed didn't show. And so she goes, she plays in it, and she goes against Nolan, and she actually beats him. And then Nolan's like, who are you? And it goes from there, basically. And this is like Mallory getting reintroduced to chess and trying to let someone in and not having to worry about her family all the time. So this is more of a growing development story and a romance story all at once. And it is beautiful. It was great. Again, very minimum spice. Like, I think maybe 1 scene of spice, and it's not even really spice. So this is great for like YA people who don't really like spice or anything like that. I love spice, and I still had a great time with this. Like I said, this is my number 5 book, and it's my favorite book by Ali Hazelwood. And yeah, I talked really fast during that one, but that's because I could talk about this book all day. I love it. Also, I want to say Mallory's little siblings in this are hilarious. It's definitely more of a realistic dysfunctional family. Number 4, and I want y'all to know, I think about these characters still like every single day, and I have not gotten to the 2nd book yet because I'm not ready to see what happens and the struggles they go through. And yeah, pretty Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I have not read Ruthless Vows yet. Divine Rivals just hit me like a ton of bricks. This was like my introduction to like romantasy, kind of like a fantasy thing, and it left an impact on me for sure. Roman and Iris just are everything to me. I remember both of their names. That's how much of an impact they made on me. They are imprinted on me. I love them, and I'm scared. So basically, Roman and Iris are both rivals at a newspaper in their world, and they're both going for the same promotion. Now, what's going on in this world is a war between 2 gods, and people are leaving to go fight for this war. So Iris's brother actually goes to fight in the war, and so while he's gone, she's typing these letters on her typewriter, and she's sticking them either in her dresser or underneath, one or the other, and they disappear. And she doesn't know like where they're going. She's just praying that they're going to her brother, and then one day someone writes back to her. And the story pretty much goes from there. And this was another beautiful found family. I mean, rivals to lovers, found family. It was so good. And let me tell you, Roman is probably one of the top book boyfriends I read about this year. He's honestly the one that I think about, like, would do anything for his girl. And I mean, quite literally anything. And I hold this book in a special place in my heart, and I'm not ready. I'm not ready for Ruthless Vows. I'm in denial, and I need a push, honestly. We are in the top 3. Oh my gosh. Now, these are books that I would probably fight people about. I would quite literally probably knock someone out for these books. Not really, but in my head I would. I would make up the scenario in my head, and I would. So yeah. Number 3, we have Scarred by Emily McIntyre. This book just did something to me. Oh my gosh. I don't know what it was, but Tristan and Sarah in this just had me hot and bothered. Oh my goodness, the tension between them was insane. I just was addicted to both of them, their story, and I mean, yeah. Anyways, let's talk about it. So we have Tristan and Sarah. This is a Lion King, oh my gosh, this is a Lion King fractured retelling. So basically, as you can tell, we're gonna have some betrayal. Tristan is the youngest one, so his brother's next in line for the throne. Now, Tristan thinks some things are up because their father has recently passed away, and the brother is just stepping in immediately, but he has to get married, cueing Sarah. So Sarah is actually has someone on the inside, which you learn about right off the rip and everything, so it's not really a spoiler, but they recommend Sarah as being the wife, and so Sarah's there clearly to be inside information, pretty much, is what I should say, but not really. I don't know how to say it without giving things away. So pretty much this is the journey between forbidden love between Tristan and Sarah, because she is engaged to his brother, and the tension in this is so thick you could cut it with a knife. It is so good, so addicting. I remember just being up late at night because I was like, I have to finish this. I have to know how this story ends. And it was great. It was phenomenal. Give me 10 more Emily McIntyre. I cannot wait for the collector's edition for this to come out either. I want every edition of Scarred. Everyone. I just don't think another book in the series is going to top this book. I'm waiting for it because I've only read 3 out of the 6, but this was just everything I wanted, and I love this book so much, and no one could say anything to change my mind about this book. It's everything to me. Number 2, we have Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. This is her best book. Okay, this is better than Haunting and Hunting with Adeline combined, in my opinion. This has some mystery thriller to it. It's enemies. This is enemies to lovers, by the way. This is an enemies to lover. He despises her. He wants to ruin her, but he cannot help being attracted to her. It's how it goes. But the mystery aspect in this book for me is what made it for me. So this book had a little bit of everything in it, and I was so addicted to it. It was so great. 5 stars, 6-star read for me. It was so good. So we have Sawyer and Enzo, and pretty much Sawyer is hiding something, and she is hiding herself as well. So she steals his identity, and he actually runs back into her, and he's like, yo, I missed you, come out on the boat with me, you know? And she's kind of like, I don't know, but eventually she ends up going. They end up shipwrecked, by the way. There are some insane spicy scenes. I know this is known for the shark scene, but the cave scene is what makes this, okay? I love that scene so much that listen, I love this book so much. I got the alternate cover in hardback, signed by H.D. Carlton from her website. It comes with a bookmark, and then I got the cave art scene as well. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm getting that. So, yes, Does It Hurt this was phenomenal. This was great. It's everything I wanted in a dark romance book, and I just loved it. It's as simple as that. I just loved it. I think this is her best book to date. We'll see if Phantom changes that, but I don't think anything's ever going to top this book by her, honestly. Okay, and lastly, we have my number 1 book. This is the top book of 2024. This is my Roman Empire. This is the book that means everything to me. I could talk about this book for hours. I recommend this book to everyone I know, and I've gotten so many of my friends to read it because I'm pestering them about it. And even my non-reading friends are probably tired of seeing all my videos about it. So, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Okay, listen, this is everything to me. I love this. I'm currently reading Iron Flame right now, and as soon as I opened it, I was like, I'm back home. This is where I belong. And that's how important this book is to me. That's how much it means to me. Violet and Xaden are everything to me. We have Violet, who pretty much was trained her whole life to go into the Scribes Quadrant, which is just a writing, documenting, like, quadrant. And her mom has decided, no, you're going to go into the dragon writing quadrant, pretty much the writer's quadrant, and you're going to learn to ride a dragon and train and basically go into battle. Even though you have not been trained for this your whole life, you have X amount of time before you have to go. And this is pretty much just Violet's character growth, the journey there. This is so fast paced. It picks up so fast. We have sort of an enemies to lovers. They're supposed to be enemies and everything like that, and I think it starts out like that for her. So yeah, I don't really know how to describe it. Xaden is a badass. He's a shadow daddy for sure, through and through. This is just the best book I read this year, hands down, and I want every single copy of it in every single language, please. I'll take whatever. I don't care, especially if it has sprayed edges. I'll take it. Gimme. I have Onyx Storm. already pre-ordered. On top of it, I'm also pre-ordering the Fairy Loot version of Onyx Storm. Like, I am obsessed with this world, this story, these characters. It's everything to me. And let me tell you, Iron Flame is stressing me out right now as well. So, but yes, this is Infinite Stars. Nothing will ever top this book, I feel like. But who knows, 2025 is a new year. We never know. So, okay, thank you all for hanging out with me today and talking about my top 24 books of 2024. It's crazy, we're already in 2025 and I cannot wait for this year and all the reads that we'll get this year and to find my new favorite book, hopefully. And hopefully not sit here and sulk over Fourth Wing. So anyways, yeah, thank you. If you liked the video, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. If you are not subscribed to the channel, I would appreciate it. And thank you, and I hope to see y'all all in the next one. And if you made it this far, please drop your top book of 2024 so that way I can add it to my 2025 TBR. Okay, love you all. Bye.